It's the year 2025, and I haven't seen anything as much as New Year's resolution or in achieving in every goal that you want in life. Or maybe I'm just out of that internet space. All I see is winter arc, villain arc, or locking in. Somewhere along those lines. Or it is just the world had gotten complacent enough to not even discuss it, then completely forgotten that it is a thing. But if you're a person that wants to achieve anything that moves your life forward, ambitious enough to take the first step, once you've done that first step, now you are in a conundrum of not knowing what will be the next step, or just to stop it completely, like you always do. Then tell yourself over and over again that you can do it next year and the next year after that. Over and over again. It's a cyclical human nature. It is a cycle of unfinished goals and an unrealized potential that is inside of you. In life, you have the capacity to choose what burden we bear. Choices that we make each day that makes up who we are right now as a person. Just like thoughts that makes up an action, daily action that makes up a habit creates our identity, an identity reinforced by the people and the environment that surrounds us makes up a character. And a character having a thought about something repeats that cycle. Hence why cyclical nature of human, or the cyclical human nature. If you don't agree with this or is bitter about this concept, then pay attention daily about those things. It is those thoughts that is running through your mind that is not even in your own. It is those feelings that you felt, and also emotion that provokes certain actions as well. If you pay attention to those things, if you really, really do pay attention to those things, you would see very clearly that it just cycles through it, or everything just cycles through us. What is what's the use of reflection? What's the use of reflection on New Year's Day if the rest of the year is lived without intention? My self improvement journey of 5 years and tons of regression. As I'm writing this, or as I write my script, I actually went through my gifts for myself. And that gift is actually just a journal. It started at the age of 16. That's where I started that tradition. I started writing myself again a birthday letter, a journal, talking about my life, or writing down my life essentially, my challenges, and the problems that I face while beginning to use my mind. Since I started writing, I began to see the world as sort of a game in which to do something to gain XP or experience and stats for your character, and then you will see the transformation into the future. What do I mean by that? It's very condensed. My writing is going to be very condensed, and let me break it down to you. So, I see it unconsciously first, because while I was growing up, I always play video game. I always watch anime. And then the turning point of it was SAO, Sword Art Online. If for those anime watchers or otakus that also watch animes. For the people who watch anime, I'm not gonna get into any technical details. But yes, I began to fantasize a life where I can just grow, where I could just level up myself, where I could just level up into the dominance hierarchy or in social what structure, something along those lines. But yeah, essentially, that's how I began to see the world. It was unconscious at first, and then I begin to see the pattern. I begin to see things as experience, and experience gives you skills and gives you stats as well. And if you gain experience, like let's say if you go to the gym, if you've gone to the gym, you went through the whole process of studying certain workouts, studying certain diets, and then actually going through everything that you've planned out in your diet. Then first you gain experience, and then after gaining experience you gain stats. Or it's gaining experience and stats at the same time in the area that you wanted it to be. Because stats stats is something you allocate. Experience and stats is something you allocate into. And I see, aside from seeing the world like a game, I also see the world in three domains: the physical, which is your body, literally your body, you you interact with it, and something along those lines; your mind, which is the mental domain; and the spiritual domain. But let's just say that that's where the stats are getting allocated from. So those are the things that you allocate your experience and also stats for your character, and your character is yourself. Then you will see the transformation in the future. That is sowing and reaping. It's literally it. You plant a seed. The story of the acorn, that's the best example of it. The acorn, you won't see the tree inside the acorn, but if you. So, again, with regarding the acorn. The acorn, you won't see it first as an oak tree. But since you have the concept of the future in your mind, you know things evolve, things grow, and it's literally a seed. You could see yourself as a seed that if you plant it and it is in the right soil, and you also water it continually, and you protect it, you've took care of it intentionally every single day, then that will at some point in time will grow into an oak tree. And that's basically you. And that's basically what I'm saying in and that's basically what I'm saying in the cycle of unfinished goals and unrealized potential that is inside of you. That's the seed of it. So, moving towards it, just like building my body. I wanted to improve my body because I had such a huge insecurity towards my body look, how my body looked. Probably have body dysmorphia even up until now, but it's lesser to an extent. Then I started studying bodybuilding, nutrition, and anything related in muscle growth, training with proper form, increasing in the weight weekly by 10%. Probably wasn't 10%, it probably was 50%. I don't know. I probably 15%. No, 15. 50%. Anyways, I always watch YouTube at that time. It was for vanity reasons, such as to be attractive and to be noticed by people. Then, as I began to get attention from girls, and there are some names of the girls that I had a relationship with and flirted with. This is all in the journal. So forgive me for not filtering this. That's in the that's so bad. I started doing the things that I'm curious with, and it led me to the path that I love and that I continually strive forward to up until now. Writing novels as well, because I was reading so much novels and dark, gory, erotic novels. I'll flash by The Reincarnation of the World's Strongest Sword God. That's the first novel. And then the next one is God of Slaughter. And then after that, because literally that novel, my second novel, God of Slaughter, God of Slaughter, or Slaughter of God, I'll flash it by. It's literally dark, just pure integration of the shadow of the human, literally malevolence itself, like just dark, very gory and very erotic as well, like a lot of like sex scene, bro, like what anyway. So you're just remembering it. So that's, and I was like what, 16, 17. So but anyway, so that's in the time in which I was 16 to 19 years old, as I've said earlier, and my mindset was making myself valuable. Mindsets with Think and Grow Rich and The Richest Man in Babylon, those two books, use the burning desire to be what? A millionaire and to be hot AF, which makes me laugh because when I write the first draft, it made me laugh because it's literally all for vanity and it didn't have much game with girls until the later years this year. When I got comfortable with learning those two, I started to look for skills and responsibilities because those are the things that increases your value and also make you money because you gain valuable skills. As I've said, experience, XP, and stats. I would look for any kinds of responsibility, and my first one ever recorded was washing the dishes. Since we are a big family, when we eat together, the dishes is comparable to a restaurant's dirty dishes. Like fucking a ton of them. So it's literally a full time job, and I also sweep the floor and mop it because I'm just remembering this now, literally. Those times were wild. I was literally what at at our living room where I was living in my living. I didn't have this room. I didn't have my own room, and me sleeping on the floor. I was literally sleeping on the floor. So yeah, it just didn't sit right to me where I would sleep. Then there would be like dirt all over, and I would feel like what dirty all over again. So I do that every single night. So that was like what my first ever recorded responsibility that I had. And that time as well, I was already used in writing in English because of the novels, but I wasn't fluent in speaking it. I wasn't as good of a writer even today. I think I don't know. I was bad. Literally, I was bad. Then I discovered this dating app called Litmatch, which most likely all of you haven't heard about. Never. But this is the pivotal moment in my life because it gotten me my first actual real job, and it is that impactful. So we're gonna talk about the impact of a dating app in my life. It is a dating app, but it got used like a Discord server where you go into a voice chat, or we call it party room, literally PR, and just meet people there, random strangers in the internet. It was mostly Tagalog because it is a Filipino server, literally, but there was this community of party room called English. The title of the room, what? English. My room name is English Absurd. And there were Filipino people that was really good at speaking English to the point that I had thought that they were foreigners, and some of them are, like literally, like there's some Filipinos also, what, couple of my friends, and also, should I mention it? And a couple of my friends, couple of acquaintances in that app meet a lot of people and then began to see and perceive things that wasn't presented to me before. And mind you, I was 17, that was 17, 18. I began to see how people think and how they process information, what their beliefs hold on to. At first, I was intrigued by personality types. I was at first an ENFJ, the protagonist, a diplomat, an idealist, all those stuff. Then at some point, I changed into an INFJ, A, which is an advocate, foreseer, developer, literally that even now. Then I saw people in that lenses. That was the first time I perceived people with that lens, in which the person that I'm talking to through online space and began to analyze what would be their personality types based on their thinking and vibe. At some point, I got super into it and wanted to study psychology, hard psychology, like really hard, because I didn't have a clue about it, and just a website explaining this and that. As I've said, like the personality types, very vague things, and I just didn't have that much context. I'm not really going to the nitty gritty details that I want it to be. So I came across in YouTube about the lecture of Jordan Peterson about maps of meaning. If you know Jordan Peterson, bro, we vibe. I studied that for 3 years, and I'm studying it now again, but it's the personality types, transformation personality. That's what I'm studying right now, and I'm what on the Lion King. Not gonna know this. People that doesn't go into that lecture would not gonna go this. They're talking about what Pinocchio and Lion King, and like the nitty gritty of it. It's so good. First year I wasn't able to get anything from it but I wanted to get the words and just to grasp the concept that is presented within the lecture itself. I listened to it while doing my work, and my first ever job that I didn't consider a job really. Just it's just literally what cutting bubble wrap for my brother's ecom store of perfumes. Since I didn't really need that much brain power to cut a bubble wraps, what the most simplest job ever, I just listened to Jordan Peterson's lecture for 1 to 2 hours daily. And there are times that I would listen to it while doing my household chores. The second year, I was able to understand just the gist and what the concept means and how can I integrate it in my life. So the second year is already integration, but the first year was more of grasping a thing because I didn't have a clue. I would always have this. I would always notice names like Carl Jung, Dostoevsky, and other what philosophers as well. It's like, who are those people? Like I don't know a single thing about them. Like literally none. But all of the main points of the lecture is understood and is instilled with me, which is a lot, really, a lot of things, like the shadow and stuff. I recommend, really, I really do recommend that you actually put in time and effort towards those lectures. While all of that is happening, I began to see another subject at hand, which is baked into those lecture, and that is philosophy. I've learned it pretty fast because I do have some of the context towards how human mind works, and philosophy is just your way of living, and your way of living just reflects your mind. That was pretty easy, I would say, but hard to apply in real life, which is the key. It's easy to understand, but hard to apply in real life. So I got into David Goggins' Meditation by Marcus Aurelius, while also learning business and entrepreneurship around 2020 and 2022. I followed a lot of creators in YouTube, but this one fucking guy, the goat of them all, the guy behind the one person business. For those that don't know, and for those that knows, it is the Dan Co. Honestly, if it weren't for him, I'm not writing anything business related or personal development related content if I didn't saw his content. I would have stick only to novels because that's the only thing I saw and I knew of that you can make money out of writing. And I love writing, I really do. But I was wrong. I'll stop glazing myself because I wasn't without a downward spiral of unproductivity and laziness and procrastination. Last year, 2024, my whole August was just productive as fuck. I'm not kidding. I can show you and also half of my September. Those checkbox that you saw, it was checkbox, just box with a check mark. I only click, just click. I only click those when I do a specific task. So I'm not kidding. When I was full throttle, when I was what August last year, not September. While having all of those learnings and a goal to work towards on system in place that I have made personally, and it worked out really well. Did it did hit home. And right now, I'm managing three in managing three in the script, but I'm actually managing four projects in the company that I worked in, and also having my own two projects. Without this system in place, I would have been all over the place and just unproductive all over, which is true. Let's just say that this day, this recording, it's Friday, went half day because I didn't have that much to do because everything that I said to accomplish this week is done because of that system, because of that journaling. It's also a journal system as well, and habit tracking. I was able to do it, and then I also was able to plan things out for the next week as well. So I have things laid down next week. Everything's just laid down. So for me, so I'm just like okay with it, and I'm not gonna be able to do it without that, without the second brain. And it is a second brain, literally a second brain. So everything that I needed to succeed in those months of 2024 was thrown out of the window. Then from there on, that 4 months of regression, having the self-awareness of knowing that I can be great, and I felt that I was great, then just fucking it all up. It sucks. I know. I've been in a cyclical human nature as well. Just because my mood wasn't in the right place, and I didn't really want to do anything at all, just to mindlessly doom scroll through TikTok and Instagram and seeing those asses regressing my progress. That year it felt so bad, and it just spiraled out of control. And as I was writing the draft of this content, I was just picking myself up bit by bit from that shithole. It was, um, I think it was around January 8th, first week of January, where I write this draft, and I finish this week, almost last week of January. So haha, there's a time gap, guys. But I met someone in there in the underworld in the 4 months of regression, right around September last year. A woman named Denise, and she just gave me the fire to continue strong this year. She's a singer that doesn't want her songs to be put into the world, and I'd gatekeep her all my life. She just wants peace. The songs that she produced can shake the world, and it shook my soul, changed me for the better. Can only describe her as my other half. But hey, enough about me. Because I think I've proven my point of my experience with the pain and suffering of not going through the goals that I've set out for myself. Literally, even this video is what I've put it in the back burner. I just pick it up literally today as I record this. If you want to start your self improvement journey this year, or you're just like me that's already started this journey and have fallen off that hard path, because it is a hard path, stick with me in the end and we'll discuss action plans that I'll be having this year, and also I'll be giving it to you for free. Things that I'm using right now that made me manage four different projects, and I can even add another two or more, is insane. And that's also on top of the things that I want for myself, like going for a walk, having an exercise, doing diets as well, taking journal, and also making sure that I am also growing spiritually while working. Bro, people won't be able to do that. I promise you. It's gonna be hard. So, which direction or path to take in the directionless wilderness? Some of you guys that is watching this video is clueless to what kind of a goal are you gonna get or are you gonna set for yourself? And if you did adopt other goals and dreams like mine, it's pointless. I promise you. I told you when I was cutting bubble wraps for my brother's ecom store, which is perfume. It's the same company that I work into, so it grew, and my mind is needed, not my physical value of providing labor, but just my mind is needed for it. So I have four projects, and that project is first is website. I have to create a website for my own for my brother's company. I have to point of sales, if I'm correct, POS. I have to. We have we are currently um, having an offline store, which I also have to manage the training of those things. Next is social media management. So social media of that company is handled by me as well. And the fourth one is live, which is that's why I said three, but four. A live. I want to get the live department again because we have live sellers that sells perfume, and I've started that department with Mom Chris. Just her face. Sorry, Mom Chris. Anyways, nadam, nadamay ka. Yeah, four of those projects in a company, 8 hours, and then I have also a project of my body of making myself lean as well, and then creating this YouTube channel as well, and creating what a digital product as well for you guys, which is also for free. It's already created, but I have to recreate it for you guys as well. So yeah, that's basically it. Ah, wait, where did I say that? So yeah, there's this YouTube channel and also for the digital product that I am gonna offer you guys for free. So you won't be able. It's pointless if you took my goals because this is mine, and this those things are the things that I'm interested with, and you're probably not gonna be interested with them. So I'd suggest you create your own. And how? But for those that already have a direction or a path to take, you can skip this part. But I suggest you not to, because maybe your goal and your path that you're taking right now is not even from you, but from others. Knowing what you don't want in this life. I'll be taking Danko's concept. I heard it from him, so I'm gonna credit him to him. I'm gonna credit this to him. The things that I noticed as I was growing up and also building character in this game of life, there are tons of paths to take, like really tons of them, infinite amount. And I would be constantly overwhelmed by the amount of information about a good path in life. Going to college to get a degree, going with legal businesses because it is a path, having multiple women, having one woman, having lots of friends, having tiny circle of friends, what skill to master, what sector or industry to go into, types of writing are you going to master. A lot of things, a lot of path to take. So the best thing to do is to say no to things and to you as well. There's this concept of how thinking is, and it is articulated in a way that our mind creates an avatar, a replica of ourselves. Then it runs through a specific program to see if that avatar succeed in that line of thinking or die in the process. And it amazes me that we can do that kind of thing because our avatar are the one who dies rather than you, the physical, dies. Might be painful, and it is painful because those avatars are also your desires. They're the ones that you want, and that's why you're thinking of them. But if you think through every single thing that you've wanted to. Do not overcomplicate this. I promise you, you would be stuck in a loophole. So think every program that you will go into life. Maybe 5 paths, maybe 10. Don't make it a lot. Don't, because it will be infinite, I promise you. Or a path in your life, and cancel everything that you think that you would hate and have too much risk in it. So cancel those things. Cancel the things that's too risky. Cancel the things that you hate personally, and that is not suggested with other, but it is you yourself. Then, if you still have lots of paths presented, feel what draws you in more. Meditate, be alone in a room, observe your thoughts, and then just feel it rather than think about it. Feel the things that you're drawn into more, the things that you watch more, the things that you consume more, the things that you really, really like. Because that path will continually transform as you track in it. The path that we take in life isn't rigid and certain, it is a complete opposite of that. And you are the one who has to make it rigid and certain with the right amount of sacrifice. You have to bargain with the universe, with life itself. In a matter of fact, for it to be given to you. How do we bargain with the reality? Well, first, you have to bargain with yourself. Because the you that is inside you, your body, and your character, has been possessed by the environment and the people around you. So you have to take control first of the tiniest of yourself. Divide and conquer of the self. You are inside chaos storm. It might be okay since you are in the eye of it and it is peaceful. But once you get at the edge of the eye, you will feel the full force of that chaos inside you and outside. That storm, by the way, is made by you. That is why you are at the center of it. You are its power source. It took you months and years to mindlessly build up that storm until it gotten too big that it forced you to be mindful about it. So you are trapped in this endless chaos of a storm, and probably there are dragons and demons that is inhabiting that storm of yours. And you now have to contend with the level 1 slime. We're talking game terms here. That is inside the eye of the storm. Just like in an RPG, you see the slime name indicator as such. Clean your workspace or table. Throw the trash in the trash can. Dispose of the contents of the trash can. Sweep the floor of your room. Smelly Clean your smelly bed. All of those good XP. That is so easy to get. Not gonna lie, they're very easy to get. Like literally, I wish it's mine to contend into. You being inside the edge of the storm, then those things pop up, and then you have a dragon, or in this context, a project that can take months to do and stack that up with what 4 more projects. That's literally mine. And then the demons that I'm contending personally, it just gets harder and harder the more you level up. So it is crucial and important that you want the path that you take. Again, enough about me. Just imagine a story that has no action, no horror, no death, no world changing event that would change the trajectory of humankind. No guns, no knives, no blood to spill, no woman surrounding the main character, no development, no plot twist, no power up, and leveling up. Just plain old normal life. Are you going to tell that story to yourself? Because the way I see it, if you don't start contending with the storm at the edge and stay at the peaceful eye of the storm, then that would be your story. Boring. You don't need your journey to be a bloody one. It can be just the right thing. No need for extra stuff because the righteous path is the hardest of it all. Actionable step number one, reachable goal. People don't talk about how motivating it is when a goal is something that you can tangibly do. It is different from setting up your dream or dreams and aspirations. For example, I want to be a millionaire or I want to make 1 million this year. Those are two different things. If it is something that you can do literally right now as you're consuming this content, like writing your first content for 5 to 10 minutes, going for a walk for 10 to 30 minutes, eating more protein than usual, getting rid one of the social medias that you use but still distracts you, cutting off that one toxic friend. So they are the slimes that you have to kill and they will fight back and will hurt you because they are integrated in you. There is also a kinship with those slimes because you are inhabiting the same space as them, but you have to kill them. It will be painful and uncomfortable. They are also infinitely easier to do and they also move you forward in life. Take note, you move forward in life and for the better. Doing my to do list won't get you nowhere if you haven't put in the time and the effort of establishing habits to do the things that I do. For example, those check mark or check boxes that I've shown you. I'm gonna show it again. 2 hours of focus writing, 1 hour of deep learning, fasting and low intake of carbs and sugar and processed foods, and on top of that, working 8 hours and maintaining a healthy relationship with Denise as she's listening this. I sacrifice my social life. I don't have many friends and even fewer close friends because I see them as distractions. I have to make a sacrifice to not experience things that a normal 20 years old guy that should be in college drinking and flirting with girls and making bad decisions. And if you don't see yourself doing the same things as I'm doing, it is okay. If you just want to improve something in your life, maybe just one domain of it, like your health, then make necessary sacrifice to achieve that goal that you want. Even if the reason is vanity, it will evolve into something holistic, something whole, something that will benefit you wholly. That's why holistic view. You have to eat for function rather than taste. That's a sacrifice. Giving time and willing to go through pain to build your muscle because it is painful and you have to want it. Learning about how to build muscle, saving some money to get a gym membership, and this is what I'm talking about when I said that the XP and the stats and also the acorn, this is it. And bargaining with reality because it isn't rigid and certain. It is up to you to make it rigid and certain with the right amount of sacrifice, and those are the sacrifices. So set a goal that you can reach this day. Set a goal that you can do literally as of this moment. Pause it, do something that you want to do, that you can do, or this week so that you'll be able to move forward and make it like a game. Treat it like a game. Take note, it should be game like, as I've said, because it will be a lot easier for your mind and you can tangibly comprehend it, just like in imaginary numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are imaginary things, guys. Paano man? Setting up a goal that is setting up a goal is the first step because you would know where to work towards on. Then back that up with execution, making sure that the first step is firmly planted down. Next, actionable step, mindfulness and mindlessness. Mindfulness on day one won't reshape a year of neglectful habits. So Let us first introduce you to the concept of entropy, or as I like to call it, chaos. Chaos and entropy will always take over something no matter what. If it's the sun, the moon, earth, country, state, region, city, house, room, and your mind. The sun would collapse on its own and die in time. The moon give it enough time and it will be shredded by the earth's gravity. The earth would consumed by the sun at some point in time and will disappear. A country can't run on its own without a government. Same for the region and the city. A house would decay if it's not taken care of by the owner. A room would be dusty, dirty, and would be full of trash if the person living in it didn't clean up. With all of those examples, I think you have a good concept about entropy and chaos. So, if you are not being aware of the things that is being shoved right into your face by the supercomputer in your pocket, which is your phone, which is the thing that I'm recording with, your mind with all of its disorganized information, and you aren't giving an effort in articulating those information, then chaos prevails your mind. Chaos is literally in your mind. You're literally inside that storm of chaos. It's in your mind. It's inside you. It's also outside you. It's also in your room. And with an organized effort in wanting to achieve something like a goal would be swept away by the ocean of distraction that you're letting in yourself unconsciously. So, how do we counter chaos itself? Well, with order. Duh. Kidding. There is this scene in one of my favorite movies of all time. It is Limitless. Oh,
Information from the Odd Museum show, a half-read article, some PBS documentary. It was all bubbling up in my frontal lobes, mixing itself together into a sparkling cocktail of useful information.
in which using information in the unconscious part of the mind, bringing it into the conscious mind, bubbling and mixing it all up into a sparkling cocktail of useful information, which is I like to call articulation. And since Eddie was in a drug called NZT48 and it doesn't really exist in the real world, sadly, I'll discuss it in a way of tangibly changing your whole world just like that miracle drug. Let's first discuss the huge benefit of being articulated, or the three C's. Let's first discuss the huge benefit of being articulated. Competent and dangerous. That's the first C. Next is charismatic. And the third one is clarity. So, first one is competence and dangerous. Life is riddled with tragedies and catastrophes, and not being able to handle that is a serious problem on its own, much less the capacity to be responsible for your own action. If you are not willing to handle a small responsibility, such as cleaning your room or doing a simple task and making the best out of it, what would you do if something tragic, such as someone that you love, die? Are you gonna wallow for months on end without doing anything productive, such as facilitating the death of someone? Be bitter about it for the rest of your life that something was taken from you, and now have a big picture understanding that everyone is bound by death itself? I've contended with the notion ever since I was 12 years old, mourning about the concept of my parents' death. They're still here with me, thank God for that. But I know to myself that if they did die, I'll be able to help out my family by being strong and making sure that everything is handled accordingly. And thinking about the infinite problems that life presents to you, it is such a huge benefit just to call forth the spirit of the hero inside you when you are being beaten by life daily. Pain and pleasure, they override each other always. Living and pursuing a painful life is much pleasurable than a life of pleasure. Just like our hunter gatherer ancestor clocking in more work hours than the modern men, not in the air conditioned environment and the comfortable office chair, but the wilderness and the vastness of the wilderness. They have to find water that is contaminated, food that will run from them because they aren't packaged up in plastic or be given to you by the butcher, outstat the wild animal with stamina and with intelligence, dealing with sickness with just their immunity system, no healthcare whatsoever, no science to help them out as well. Enduring the life or enduring the fullness of life. And they will be like that until the day of their death. And that's why they evolved to take full advantage of the available comforts and pleasure that is presented to them. It is an instinctual drive that is presented in our experience as a modern human. They would indulge in fatty meats, fruits, honeys, milk that was available to them to find respite in knowing that they didn't know when such opportunities will present itself. They live a life that we experience, but the tribe is much less forgiving and much less comforting. Our society is more forgiving and more comforting. That is why the comfortable life of a modern man is much less pleasurable than the fullness of our hunter gatherer ancestor. Fulfillment comes from the pain of sacrifice. Simple joy is only attainable in a life of pain, vice versa. It is under competence in being dangerous because knowing the fact that information that I presented to you that the life of pain is much more pleasurable than the life of pleasure itself gives you a guide, gives you gives you a star to look upon. So that is why it's under there. Next, charismatic. The way you speak and the way you are able to handle people is an essential skill to have. And that's why when you play a game, there is something a stat for charisma. I think if you see it, it's vitality and charisma, if I'm correct, and stamina. But most common is dexterity, strength, and intelligence as well. Intelligence, vitality, wit, and then charisma. Those are the areas of life that, or those are the areas of a character that you invest your stat into to stat points because it is something that you can learn and be good at and at some point be great at. It is not just in dating but also career wise because it is an indicator of a lot of things. IQ, EQ as well, and even health. Being charismatic takes a lot of energy for you. You have to pay attention to people. You have to think of how you would respond to them, how to be able to persuade them that you are trustworthy and a helpful individual. Your brain takes up a lot of energy just for you to do those things, and to be great at it requires past and present investment by yourself to establish foundational skills and development even further. Again, the acorn thingy. Next, clarity. Most people's mind is a one huge block of ideas and thoughts. The scattering of the mind is of the devil's plan. Endless slot machine like scrolling in reels and TikTok. Mindless consumption of highly processed food that our body doesn't find satiating. Aimlessness and goalless aside from the designation of the goals of the society, and it is called human resource. I say those things because once you've gained clarity, you are already ahead of most people, and that is a competitive advantage that you can continually exploit throughout your life. Clarity is a system in which you have to gain all of its parts for it to work. Aspiration, dreams, desire. It is the star that you look up to and upon, knowing what your ideal self would look like if you actually got serious with life. Lenses, filters, radio box. Those things that I've listed works in the same way to separate the valuable thing that is nested inside the infinite white noise. Or, as I would like to say, is that the habitable order is inside the unknown chaos, and the voice that is inside you, nested inside the environment, the people, and the society that is a white noise. Time, attention, focus for the things that actually matter and not just some random goal that you want to do because you saw it somewhere in the internet. Yes, it may have some benefit, but it doesn't grow you as a whole. It is not holistic. And time, attention, and focus is the calibration for the things that you want to see. So let us make that a bit more digestible so that you'll be able to conceptualize it in your psyche or in your mind. We are walking in the world, and the world is always giving us infinite amount of information. And you can only process just a tiny bit of that information. So we think in form of lenses that filters out the infinity and only focus on the things that you think, personally think, that is of value to you. That is how our mind works. And how your mind works is how you live the world. If you think you are a victim in this world, then that will become your targeted information. You would look into that, you would sift through the infinite information and target those information that would continually justify yourself that you are a victim. If you think that you are a loser in this world, then if you try out new things, and even if you win the first time around, you will ignore the thing that you've won, the fact that you've won, and when you lose, that will be the primary information that will dominate your mind. You won't be able to get rid of that kind of lens, even if you want to right now. Not unless if you're guided by someone. Because you've gained them throughout the years that you've lived out. That is why awareness is such a big concept, because how are you going to be able to see beyond the lens that you've established your whole life and your whole world? And it will take time to be aware right now and to be continually aware in the future. That is why mindfulness on day one won't reshape a year of neglectful habits. Being aware lets you see the good and the bad things that is happening all around you. Every single thing. Then, with that awareness, you now have the power to decide in which direction you want to strive your life into. Hence, having the path in the directional wilderness. Again, with awareness, you'll be able to see and conceptualize your life to its full potential, and that is a north star that which guides you in your path. There is also the underworld in which your awareness and unconscious mind see, in which everything that you hated and had happened and you've let it consume you until it spirals out of control. The star or the ideal set that you've dreamed of. The underworld in which you fucked up everything in the worst possible way, and it happens to a lot of people, and that is why they turn into alcohol and drugs. I'm not judging here. I've taken a fair share of anti-awareness substance in which lets me forget everything that I knew of. It is just a perspective. But here is a thing. You don't follow someone else's star. You follow your own. You create your own. Just like you follow your own interests, you follow your own instinct. You want to learn what you are curious in because there is a tiny little voice that is inside of us, that is inside of you, guiding us of what to do and what you actually want to do in life. And that little voice is your driving force in pursuing your desire. It is a fire that will lit and burn bright when you know that it is the right thing for you. And you have to see it, to feel it, and to listen to it. Because it will always be overwhelmed by the amount of infinite white noise that is surrounding you. And you see it in my story as well, that I've just pursued the things that I am curious with, that I'm interested with. I'm curious with it. I'm interested with it. I got passionate with it, and then now it is my purpose in life, and it leaded me and build me for who I am right now. If you have experienced this and you know what I'm talking about, then you are on the right path. Because for me, when I listen to that small, still voice that is inside of me and step forward with me guiding that, I don't get drowned and fall into the underworld, in which I have to do something drastic to swim out of. You have to plan out your year, this year, 2025. You have to make sure that you have a dream that you will chase in the next 10 years, not just this year, but also 10 years as well. You need a system for a daily and weekly tracking of the things that you want to do and the things that you don't want to do. For now, I only have a system in tracking your daily habits and a system for journaling your life out. And you should journal it. You should use your words. You should be articulated. You should use clarity. You should use and be dangerous. You should be charismatic as well. Because those three things will get you ahead in life, as I've told you. Making sure that you have a project to work on. What do you mean by a project? It is something that you can work towards on, and because of that, you will face challenges and problems and pains and suffering. And that is a thing that you want in life and be grateful of. Those projects are the slimes for now. They're the slimes. At some point, they will be the wolves. After the wolves, the tigers, the dragons, and so on and so forth, until you contend with the wall and expand your territory. Such as me, I have a problem of being insecure with my body. It is presented before and it's still presented now, and that problem evolved with me. So I made sure that I'll be able to have tools and the means of creating the body that I want or the health that I want. A mindset shift in which you are getting rid of your old self and lenses for the better so that you'll view the world in a higher resolution, deeper level, and wider view. I don't have a specific advice for you to do because I don't know who you are. But follow the things that I've said and listed here in this content, and you'll be able to conquer your year, and it will be hard. But then again, it's your choice. Bear the pain of discipline or bear the pain of regret.